Hello and welcome back to More English with Dry. Today we're looking at When We Two Parted from the Love and Relationships AQA anthology. This is a poem by Lord Byron, and we are going to start with the first stanza in an odd twist, I know. The thing to notice straight away is that the first line, When We Two Parted in Silence and Tears, is something that is repeated right at the end, as we can see here again, with silence and tears. Now that is important because it immediately shows a cyclical structure. Okay, so we can talk about how this has a cyclical structure, and usually what that means in poetry or in any kind of writing is that the writer's thoughts and feelings are unchanging, as you know, throughout for the duration of the text they compose. Okay, so this might imply unchanging emotions, or unchanging attitudes, should we say, towards the object of his affection. Now, a lot of rumors and kind of speculation about who this person is that Byron is writing this poem to, that is not that important in AQA writing. It's especially not important in the poetry anthology. So we are just going to call them the object of his affection, and try and graft no more reading onto that. You will not get AO3 marks for context if you start writing fan fiction and made up theories about Byron's life. So back to stanza 1. The thing that is most noticeable instantly is the repetition of words that indicate two things, or rather one thing becoming two things. So for instance, we have part. We have half, broken. We have sever, and then further on, we have the words broken again, obviously in a different context. But this creates, if you want to write in a very fancy way, a semantic field of separation. Now, I'm not going to write that down because having marked for the exam board, I know that they do not particularly like very, shall I say, pretentious techniques. What they like is you to actually say what is going on. So here we have multiple words implying one thing being split. Now that is all that you really need to notice about these words. They all have the same connotations. Perhaps sever is a slightly harsher or even more violent word, and therefore has connotations like that. But all they are really doing is reminding us that this poem is about a breakup. And it sets the tone of him being, sad about this. Now, he kind of carries on in this vein. He says, pale grew thy cheek, and cold, colder thy kiss. Now, this clearly indicates something to do with death. Perhaps she is dead to him. Perhaps he feels that their relationship is dead. Either way, it is all linking towards the idea of a breakup and the sorrow that he feels for this. As he continues, he discusses the dew of the morning, the sunk chill on my brow. It felt like a warning of what I feel now. Thy vows are all broken, and light is thy fame. I hear thy name spoken and share in its shame. Now, we've already got the word broken there, linking back to the first stanza, but I want to draw our attention here to vows. Now, vows obviously connotes a wedding. Now, we do not know what the relationship between this Byron and this person are. If we kind of go with the real life kind of gossip and rumors about Byron, that he was having an affair with a married woman, perhaps there is connotations of vows and marriage being broken because that's what she was doing. Either way, it's kind of irrelevant to guess for this poem. What is more important is that the vows that he feels like they exchanged are now broken, and therefore it feels a lot more serious to him. So the seriousness of this person's betrayal are reinforced, shall we say, by the reference to marriage. Now, it doesn't matter if they were married or not, because Byron, or rather the speaker in this poem, almost feels like they were married. It feels like that it was so serious between them that it was like a marriage that is now open. I hear thy name spoken and share in its shame. Now, shame, again, is a word that you could graft on all these theories to, that this woman was, known about in high society and gossiped about. Again, I wouldn't bother saying that. I think the connotations of the word shame are so rich already. They imply his humiliation. And they suggest that he regrets what happened, either because it has caused him so much unhappiness, or because he regrets ever having anything to do with this person, and feels like he has been made to look like a fool. But either way, even the mere mention of her at this point is something that creates all of these feelings of misery and unhappiness inside him. Now, this whole concept is carried on when in the next stanza where he says, "They name thee before me, a knell in mine ear." Now, a knell is the bell rung at funerals, quite simply. So again, it has the connotations of death, and further suggests how he feels she is almost dead to him now. And then this implies a great deal, perhaps, of blame. We can infer, there's an inference we can make of blame towards her, of blame, that he feels somehow that she has let him down so hugely that rather than consider her as someone who, clearly he could make something happen again with, he feels that it's totally final, as death is. And this is reinforced when he carries on. "A shudder comes over me. Why wert thou so dear?" Literally, why did I like you so much? Why were you so important to me? Now, this suggests that he is almost angry with himself for letting her get so close. And it speaks to the level of pain he now feels. This is not going away for him. This is a real emotional kind of misery that he is in. "They know not I knew thee, who knew thee too well." Now, this is our first instance where we can start to wonder if perhaps there is something going on that is more like an affair. "They know not I knew thee." Now, obviously, this goes on with what really happened, but we now have textual proof of it, which is why it's more significant. "They know not I knew thee." And so, therefore, I would just put a fair question mark, because obviously you will get a higher grade in English literature in general if you can come up with theories that are most importantly based on the text, but also ask questions about what is being said. Now, the question we ask here is, if people didn't know that they were in a relationship, then could it have been an affair? And it does seem to fit with everything he said about vows being broken, about shame, about humiliation. But that is the closest we get from Byron to a kind of admission that this was the case. And then he goes on to he returns to his main point. "Long, long shall I rue thee." Now, rue, of course, means regret. "Too deeply to tell." Even he doesn't know the level of pain that he has caused himself. He doesn't know when this will be over. If we go to the final stanza, we can see very clear evidence again that perhaps our idea that this is an affair is accurate. "In secret we met," And let's ask the question, why did they have to meet in secret? Why didn't they meet in public? Well, perhaps because their relationship was illicit in some way. "In silence I grieve, that thy heart could forget, thy spirit deceive." Now, this implies that she almost acts towards him as though he is nothing now. This suggests that she may either ignore him or ignore her feelings for him. And this, again, reminds us that he is angry with her. That there is, yes, of course, a sense that he is miserable, but also that he feels not just pain that it's over, but anger that she could do this to him. And then he speculates, "If I should meet thee after long years, how should I greet thee? With silence and tears." Now, this is the kind of ending of this cyclical structure that shows that nothing is going to change about how he feels towards her. Now, that is borne out by the rhyme scheme of the poem as well. "Parted tears, hearted years. Cold kiss foretold this." It is an A-B rhyme scheme throughout the poem. And as always, consistent, constant rhyme indicates consistent, constant emotions that are not going to go away. I hope this was a helpful video. I will see you next time. Take care.